It's your boy Ty back here with another video, and in this video today, guys, we're gonna be going over our top 100 cards in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. Now, look guys, I mean, 100 cards, obviously I'm gonna leave some people off that should be on the list accidentally because I'm not perfect and neither are you guys. So if there is anybody that I accidentally leave off the list, I'm sorry, okay? Again, I tried to do my best on these things, but I am not going to be perfect. So just kind of something to keep in the back of your guys' minds as I do dive into our top 100 today. Now, again, this is my list subject to opinion, so if you guys have any of your thoughts, leave them down below in the comments as well. We're going to start off our list at number 100 with Amethyst Vince Carter. I think he's tough to beat at that shooting guard position for what he was when he came out. Season 1, sure, he was fine. Obviously, he came out in the Dr. J set, and Dr. J was better than him. I feel like early Vince is always pretty solid. I just feel like at this stage, at this point, Vince Carter, his time is came and went. I just can't make the case that he is worth it at all anymore. Look, he had his time in my team. That time is gone. Vince Carter at number 100 nonetheless. At number 99, we're going to be plugging in, still to this day, one of the best offensive point guards in the entire game, Damian Lillard. Now, a lot of people might disagree with me on this. I move and groove with Dame. If you've ever seen me play quick match, I use the Milwaukee Bucks. And trust me when I say my Damian Lillard is something special. So maybe I'm higher on Dame than nearly anybody else just because of how good I am with him in play now specifically. But offensively, I still think he's an absolute problem. Can dunk the ball well. Obviously, defensively, that's why Damian Lillard's at 99. His defense is absolutely abysmal. At my number 98, we're plugging in Amethyst Shawn Kemp. Still not a great three ball, obviously not great defensively, but he does have the ability to knock down shots. His defense is okay. He's not great anymore, but for his time, he was solid. A card you definitely could use and have some success with. At my number 97, we're going to plug in Steve Smith, a card you could have gotten for free in his season 2. For what he was fine, 6'8", good 3-ball, decent defense. My whole thing with Steve Smith is he was just kind of a 3-and-D option and nothing more, nothing less, and his defense wasn't great. So I can't really hype up Steve Smith. I can't really put him any higher than I have him, but obviously if you got Steve Smith, you can still run him to this day, and he will do something for you guys on the court. Jaime is up next, 6'6", 6'9" wingspan. Here's gonna start. We're gonna see a lot of budget small forwards on this in this video. Why? Well, a lot of these guys can do a lot of things at a pretty high level. He has limitless range, decent release, gold clamps. He just does enough for me to put him on our top 100, which is crazy because he's an emerald for 4,200 MT. Now, the reason I haven't hyped this card up a ton is because there is another card for 4,200 MT that is just way better, who we will get to later on in this video. At my number 5, Grant Hill. I would never get this card anymore because look, he's hidden behind a lock-in and his value is not great for that, obviously. But with all that being said, he's not bad. I mean, I used Grant Hill when he came out. Defensively, he's fine. Could make some plays. Dunking the ball was really solid. For what he was fine. Obviously, hidden behind the lock-in, you can't ever really recommend anybody doing that. But for his time, he held it down for me and was one of the best small forwards in the game when he did come out. At my number 94, we're plugging in Amethyst Shaun Livingston. Now, the problem with Shaun Livingston is that 55 3-ball. Now, can you green with it? Yes. Are you going to consistently green with it? Probably not. And I think that's my thing for Shaun Livingston is when I did my gameplay, green shots with him. And then I tried using him on the No Money Spent Squad series, and I was like, okay, I'm not greening with him. What is the next step, right? If I'm not going to green with him, how do I use this card and have success with it? And I think that's really what I struggle with. Obviously, defensively, he's fine from the mid-range. He never missed. But you need to be able to shoot the ball in 2K this year more than ever. And just his lack of ability to do that is why he's down here at number 94. At number 93, Paolo Banchero. I was once really extremely high on Paolo Banchero. I was super high on this card, but it's just not anymore. I mean, I was high on him, and then he started getting mashed, just started not playing any defense whatsoever. And I was like, okay, I can't really hype this card up any more than I already have, and that's why he's all the way down here. Still gonna knock down shots. It's just his defense that is just really less than mediocre. That just kind of is the reason he is all the way down here. Next up, guys, we at number 92, we got Jonas Valanciunas, the Evo card here for Joe Val. Now, look, I wish his Evo would have been better. You know, I've been known to not hype up Joe Val's Evo because they could have made this card way better than he is. 83 3-ball, solid defense. But again, they could have made this card something special. They did it. Vertical acceleration, super low. Defensively, not great. Still going to stretch the court decently. I just wish he was a little bit better. At my 91, Larry Marketing, power forward at 7 feet tall. He can shoot the ball well. Now, obviously, defensively, he's horrible. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat things. His defense is absolutely abysmal. But I guess he is 7 feet tall, so for that, I got to at least put some respect on his name, right? I don't love him, but again, he's 7 feet tall, going to play some sort of defense. I can't sit here and say it's all bad for Larry Marketing, especially with Hall of Fame corner specialist and catch and shoot. At my number 90, Bam Adebayo, 6'9", 7'2" wingspan. Now, Bam, look, come season 1, he ran the game at the center position. But that was season 1. And season 1 happened a very long time ago. Still has a decent enough 3-ball to shoot it. Obviously, defensively with the Hall of Fame anchor is solid. Again, for Bam, I just feel like he had his time in my team. It is no longer. But still, what he could do back in the day, man, he was something very, very special. At my number 89, Amethyst LaMarcus Aldridge, 6'11", 7'4" wingspan, hot spots from both quarters. 85 3-ball, 74 speed, decent lateral interior as well. Does get the Hall of Fame midi magician. Now, the problem with LaMarcus Aldridge is he's going to shoot the ball well, but it's from that mid-range area, which, look, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't value nearly as much as having a 3-ball. Like, yes, his 3-ball is fine at an 85. He's going to shoot the ball decent, but his mid-range is really, especially that Hall of Fame badge being midi magician, is kind of troll. I wish his 3-ball would replace that mid-range, and maybe I'd sit here and hype up LaMarcus. Still 6'11", stretch big. Not bad at all in my team. At my number 88, Amethyst Corey Maggette, 6'6", 6'8" wingspan, hot spots from both corners. You want to talk about complete shooting guards in my team? Corey Maggette is that. Now, is he perfect? Is he great at anything? No. And I think that's the reason I can't put him any higher. But for what he is, if you have Corey Maggette, he's absolutely fine. At number 87, Wendell Carter Jr. Now, people are going to be like, Ty, you really like Wendell Carter Jr. more than Jonas Valanciunas? And my answer is yes. I do like him more than Jonas Valanciunas. Now, that's just me and my personal opinion. You guys might disagree with me on that, but he's going to shoot the ball well. I feel like movement-wise better than him, and he does have Hall of Fame brick wall as well. I like Wendell Carter Jr. in my team. At my number 86, we're plugging in Cam Reddish, 6'7", 7-foot wingspan. Now, Cam Reddish, when you think of this card, you might be like, okay, but he's just very very mediocre. You know what? He's another one of those small forwards that you can buy for 10,000 empty that you can throw out there and trust him to get you stops. Now, Cam Reddish is a little bit different because his steal rating is so high at that 97, and offensively shooting the ball not going to be as good. Maybe one of the better, budget defenders in the game where he's not going to shoot the ball as well. But as far as complete guards, I like Cam Reddish. His size, versatility, player model, all things point to Cam Reddish being really solid in my team. At my number 85, Naz Reid. Naz Reid. It's Naz Reid. I mean, what more do you want me to say? It's Naz stinking Reid in my team. 6'9", like him more at the power forward position, movement-wise, solid, gonna shoot the ball decently well. There's just not many flaws when you get to Naz Reid. I mean, rebounding-wise, good, half brick wall, gonna knock down shots. Naz Reid in my team, really solid. At my number 84, Sharif Abdur-Rahim. I'm gonna say it. He's one of the most underrated cards that we've gotten all year long. Now, why does nobody talk about him? Because when he came out, he was relatively expensive. And was he worth his price? I mean, I can't even sit here and say he was. But for what he is the card solid? 6'9", can play small forward, plays defense. Yes, this card is really solid on the court. Badge-wise, super complete as well. Again, I'm telling you, if he was 10,000 MT, everybody would have been talking about Sharif in my team. At my number 83, Amethyst Bill Russell. Now, you guys might be like, Ty, you just hyped up Bill Russell. Why is he all the way down at 83? Look, I hyped him up because he's a free card that was a super easy grind that is solid in my team. Do I think he's the best card in the game? No. Is he solid and can you use him? Yes. And so that's why I am going to hype him up. Hall of Fame Anchor, Immovable Enforcer, Rebound Chaser. And again, you can grind him in Agenda super easy, super free. And if you need a center to compete against some of those best centers in my team, Bill Russell can do exactly that. Is he going to be the best center? No, because of his offense or lack thereof. But defensively, he is an absolute beast. Next up, guys, coming in at number 82. This one might be a surprise to a lot of guys. Pajemski. 6'4", 6'5" wingspan, 85 3 ball, 85 speed, decent defense. Now, why does he make this list? Now, here's the deal. If you've never used Pajemski, you don't know. His release, super smooth for Pajemski in my team. Good release. Zach Levine dribble style is just fine. I've had to use him in like triple threat offline, stuff like that to get challenges done. And man, have I enjoyed my time with Brandon Pajemski. As bad as that sounds, it's true, man. The card knocks down shots, plays decent defense, has a decent player model at 6'4". He just doesn't do anything wrong. And I think that is super important when you're looking at budget options in my team. Who can go out there and you can trust on the court? Pajemski is a guy that I've had a lot of success with. At my number 81, level up, Gilbert Arenas, 6'4", 6'9", wingspan, 89 3 ball, 91 speed, a solid defense, Hall of Fame Agent 3, and limitless range. I got Gilbert Arenas, and I locked in on my no money spent for Dwight Howard. Why? Because he was basically free. Now, does Gilbert play for me anymore? No, because there are just guys that have surpassed him. But I enjoyed my time with Gilbert Arenas. I mean, I've used him. I've had a lot of success with him, or not a ton of success, but a decent amount of success with him. And just overall, he has been able to hold it down for me. Is Gilbert Arenas ever going to be, the best point guard in the game? No, because I don't believe his release allows for that. But is he always going to be just a guy you can run and trust on the court? I think so. That's why Gilbert Arenas comes in at my number 81. At my number 80, Julius Erving. I think for his time, is going to go down, in my opinion, as one of the most underrated cards of the entire year. Now, why? 73 ball, people overlooked that. Still with a good release, he could knock down shots. 86 speed, great defense. People, at least I did. I don't know if everybody else did. I overlooked what Julius Erving could do for his specific time. Guy, I kind of wish I would have ran early stages of 2K. Obviously, I didn't. Kind of, regret doing that because, I mean, he is really, really solid in my team. But 6'7", good frame, good release. Dr. J, in the future, is probably going to get some really good cards. At my number 79, Ruby PJ Tucker, 6'5", 6'9", wingspan, 86 3 ball, 79 speed, really solid defensively. Now, when I look at this card, stats don't tell the whole story. They don't. Because what is the best part about PJ Tucker? It is the fact that he's got the PJ Tucker base on quick. That's the best part about this whole entire PJ Tucker card, is that his release is just so good. Hot spots from both corners, good shooting badges, great defense, and one of the best releases in the game at that small forward position. Sign me up for PJ Tucker for 10,000 MT. Next up, guys, at number 78, Shane Battier. Release-wise, it's pretty solid, I would say. 83 speed, solid defensively. Another 3-and-D guy at that small forward position. I told you guys you're going to see a lot of them, but just because it's kind of a common theme for me, when it comes down to the small forward position. I think we've got a lot of guys, budget-wise, that can play at an extremely high level. Shane Battier is another one of them. Thing I really like about Shea Battier is 6'8", good frame, gonna get you a lot of stops, and he's just, again, I don't want to call him underrated, but relatively cheap in my team for 4,200 MT. Devin Booker up next, hopefully getting a new one soon at number 77. For D-Book, the card is never gonna look good, ever, because when you look at D-Book's defense, you're probably like, ew, what am I looking at? Like, defensively, he's horrible. Movement-wise, incredible. Release-wise, incredible. And the D-Book fade. Simple, easy. If you're skilled offensively, you're going to like that Devin Booker card. At number 76, Russell Westbrook. A lot of people are going to hate me for putting him this low, but I do not see it with Russell Westbrook at all. I used the card, didn't have any success with him, and it's crazy considering last year, this card ran the game for so long. This year, It's just a different story. Russell Westbrook does not fit the meta of my team. I'm sorry. I thought the card would be pretty decent. It's just, he's not. Again, it's the same thing in Play Now, right? Last year in Play Now, Russell Westbrook ran Play Now. This year, he just does not. At number 75, I got to switch to this year. Bob Pettit. Talk about underrated. Nobody is talking about this card, and he can shoot and play decent defense. I'm sorry. I know he's undersized at 6'9", but he's got hot spots from everywhere on the court. He's 6'9". His defensive stats are pretty decent. What's there not to like about Bob Pettit? I don't. Everything's to like about Bob Pettit. Card is fantastic. He is just underrated in my team. Dorian Finney-Smith at number 74. Card on my no money spent. I've used. It's just hard to get to him, right? I've already talked about it. There are just so many different small forwards that you guys can use, whether it's PJ Tucker, whether it's Dorian Finney-Smith, just so many options. And so I feel like that's kind of the hard part of getting to Dorian Finney-Smith is when you've got all these options, it's all preference based. Even a Cam Reddish compared to Dorian Finney-Smith. Who do you like more? Who do you prefer? It's all preference based. And I think that's why it's tough for me to ever really get to Dorian Finney-Smith. I've used him on my no money spent, had some success with him, but it's just tough to get to him. At 73, James Worthy. Now, James Worthy, nobody's really talking about him. He's kind of flying under the radar. And why? Well, because if you get James Worthy, you probably locked in the Tiz this season set, in which, yes, you got Ron Artest. You got, who else was in that? Is that Rudy? Like, when you lock in this set, you got a ton of good options. You got Ron Artest. If you locked in this set, you probably do have Luol and Rudy as well. It's just hard, in my opinion, to hype up James Worthy or use James Worthy. But let's say you got an equal chance pack and you pulled James Worthy. This card can definitely play for you. Good release, good movement. He's just overall a really solid and complete card in my team. Is Big Game James. At my number 72, Cliff Robinson, still to this day, a 3 and D option that you can use and trust. Now, outside of, being that 3 and D, mostly D, I mean, there's not a lot of 3 with him. What else does he do on the court? Well, again, I think a big part for me and Cliff Robinson is the player model, 6'10", wide player model, but look at the defensive badges. I think that's the most impressive thing for him. Release, it's not great. The Shengu base, not great, but it is easy to time, easy to green. Cliff Robinson is fine. If you got him, you obviously can run him. I don't in my team. At 71, Kyle Kuzma. Talk about one of the biggest letdowns this year. I think it's been Kyle Kuzma. It is one of the bigger ones. Now, why? I think it's important to know. Well, last year, the Kuzma base, it was super good. And this year, I don't want to just hate on it because it's not horrible, but it's not the Kuz release of old. And again, I'm not trying to just sit here and hate on Kyle Kuzma. But it's obvious. The Kuzma release this year is not what it has been in the past. And I think that's really what hurts him. Because when you look at the stats badges, he's fine. It's just he's not the Kuzma of old. And I think that's what a lot of people are just kind of just let down by. I know I was let down by him. Not to say he's all bad because there are some good things with it. But yeah, when the best thing of his card is the release and his release is not nearly as good as it was last year, people are obviously going to be let down. At my number 70, Benedict Mathurin. Now, he's a card who got 5 Evos, but even after the 5th Evo, I was looking at him and I'm like, I still don't love him. Like, he's fine, but he's not a card I love. Why? I mean, I don't know. I just feel like defensively, he's still not as good as he should be. Shooting-wise, obviously, he gets a ton, and release-wise, he's fine, but that's the best part about the card. Defensively, he doesn't do a ton for you. Obviously, offensively, playmaking-wise, he's not great. He's only 6'5". Just feel like the card was kind of a letdown in my team. At my number 69, Larry Hughes. Not that, I mean, there are some people talking about him. And there's not, but there's not that many. And there's reason why there's not that many people talking about him. And it's because we got another point guard who I think budget-wise is better than Larry Hughes. But Larry Hughes is just fine. Now, I don't love his release. His release is kind of, I'll say it as like a load-up type of release. But it's fine. Play good defense. 6'5", good player model, player build. Larry Hughes, I'll say it, kind of slept on in my team. At 68, David West. A card who I don't have yet, probably going to get relatively soon. Am I excited to get David West? Well, kind of. I think this card's going to be fine. Hall of Fame catch and shoot. Defensively, good enough to at least hold it down. I just think, you know, a lot of these rewards aren't great, but some of them, even the Cliff Robinson of last season, are good enough to at least run for a while. And those are the ones you really got to look at and highlight. And David West is one of them. At my number 67, Diamond Allen Iverson. I never thought I'd be hyping up a Diamond Allen Iverson card. I never did. But this card can play a little bit. I don't love him, and that's why he's down here at number 67. But he can play a little bit. 6 feet tall, but his offense more than makes up for it. Release-wise, good. Movement-wise, fantastic. And if just from top to bottom, I think offensively one of the best players we have in the entire game. Stat-wise, super complete. The only problem is he's 6 feet tall. And yes, that is a big problem. I don't want to sit here and sugarcoat things. At my number 66, Alex Caruso. Now, maybe I'm blinded by how good this card is in play now. Maybe that's what it is. But until somebody proves otherwise, I'm going to hype up Alex Caruso. Player model 6'5", feels larger, going to play great defense, has a consistent release that you're going to be able to shoot with. I mean, again, until somebody shows me that Alex Caruso can't play, I'm going to hype up this card. Caruso based on quick is fine, MJ dribble style. I don't mind Alex Caruso at all in my team. At my number 65, Amethyst Jason Tatum. Now, we're due to get a new Jason Tatum soon. And when it comes down to total badges, there's not that many cards that have more total badges. Is Jason Tatum the best card, best small forward in the game anymore? No. But is he still one of the most complete cards in the game? I'm going to say yes. Defensively, offensively, one of the most complete cards in the entire game. He's nothing when you compare him to like LeBron James of the world. But when you look at complete cards or even stat-wise, look at him compared to the new Gauntlet reward.'You'll be surprised at how there's not that much different. At my number 64, Scottie Pippen. I plugged in the wrong Scottie. I do apologize. 6'8", 7-foot wingspan. Scottie Pippen come Friday should be under 25,000 MT. And that's a big time deal. 76 3 ball, 86 speed, solid defense. If he ever gets to be under 25,000 MT, I don't mind him for that specific price. And I think it's important to note that because a lot of people are looking for budget small forwards. Scottie Pippen, a top 65 card in the game. I like him for his price if he does get below 65,000 MT. Amari Stoudemire, how do you get him level 39 reward? Is I'm slowly grinding it, man. Right now, I think I'm level 16. But Amari does have chase down, pogo stick, big driver, some finishing badges. I just wish badge-wise he was a little bit better because stat-wise, I really don't hate him. It's just badge-wise, I just wish he had a little bit more. Good driving dunk. And maybe it's just I wish he had more total defensive badges. I really do not like, and this is just me, and maybe it's my harsh opinion, but I don't like when 2K gives players badges and then most of their badges are finishing. I just feel like they're kind of a waste. And again, that's probably mostly me and my personal opinion, but I feel like it's a waste when you're giving a card in Amari a bunch of badges, but half of them are finishing. Like, give him some defense, give him some shooting, give him something other than just finishing. That's just maybe me and again my opinion, but that's one reason I'm not super high on Amari Stoudemire. At number 62, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Now, this is one of the biggest what ifs that we have in 2K. What if he got to be a diamond? What if he got to be a diamond with 5 evos? How good would a KCP been? That's one of my biggest what ifs for this year. Now, obviously, looking at things, still shooting wise, incredible. Defensively, can get the job done. I play this card in my No Money Spent squad series. And that's saying something when we've got plenty of other options at that shooting guard position. Heck, I'm right now playing him over a guy we'll see later on in this video, just for a pure comfort standpoint. And to show KCP budget-wise can compete at a really high level. At my number 61, Amethyst Kawhi Leonard. The problem with this card was he was hidden behind a lock-in, and I can't, I can't vouch for locking in sets if the card is not, game-changing elite. But Kawhi Leonard, for what he is, really solid. Challenger, clamps, glove, all on Hall of Fame. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. I feel like Kawhi Leonard always just plays different type of defense. I don't know why, I don't know how, but Kawhi's defense is always just so different in my team. At my number 60, cracking our top 60, Jaylen Brown Diamond. Another kind of letdown. I feel like Jaylen Brown is just not it this year. And it goes well back to his release. I just feel like his release is too slow to really hype up. Again, it's not, I don't want to say it's all horrible because, I've seen way worse releases, but it's just slow. I feel like it's relatively easy to green, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too mean and too harsh, but when you have a release that's kind of slow, I'm just not going to hype up Jaylen Brown in my team. Still going to play a ton of defense, but I've got him, and I'm not going to use him. At my number 59, Mikal Bridges. Release, again, relatively slow. I just like Mikal's defense a lot. Hall of Fame interceptor is such an important badge, and not a badge a ton of guys have. If you've ever used Hall of Fame interceptor, you know how valuable it truly is. And I think, you know, again, for Mikal Bridges, that is something that I hold on to. Maybe I'm higher on him than I should be, especially considering Jaylen Brown's lower than him. But I think people aren't respecting Mikal Bridges as much as they should be. A card that I definitely don't think that gets the respect he deserves is Amethyst Glenn Robinson. When you talk about complete cards in my team, you gotta mention Glenn Robinson. You have to, because he can knock down shots. He plays decent defense. What is there not to like about Glenn? I'll wait, because there's just no downsides with Glenn. Plays defense, 83 speed ball, good 83 3 ball, good speed, good lateral quickness, Hall of Fame corner specialist, bulldozer. He does a lot for you guys on the court. I didn't hype him up first when he came out. I definitely should have. At my number 57, Joe Johnson. This is the guy that I play KCP over. Talk about a letdown. I think we got to mention the Gauntlet, man. Gauntlet started so hot with Chris Bosh, and with how good Chris Bosh is, it's sad that the last couple of Gauntlet rewards just haven't been all that. And I'm not trying to sit here and slander them, because obviously Lamar Odom can play, Joe Johnson can play. But when you're talking about Gauntlet, which is supposed to be this hard reward and rewarding reward, Joe Johnson, stat-wise, badge-wise, was fine, but his release was just a little bit too slow for everybody's liking. At my number 56, Diamond Ray Allen. Now, some people might really love Diamond Ray Allen. I used this card, did a gameplay with him, and let me tell you guys, I struggle way more than I thought I would. And maybe it's my fault. And if that's the case, if you guys are loving Ray Allen and it is my fault, let me know that down below in the comments and I'll give him another try. But I feel like shooting-wise, he's fantastic, but his release isn't good enough for it to, you know, really matter. It's fine. It's a fine release. But when I use a guy like Ron Artest, I even prefer Ron Artest's release over Ray Allen. So how am I supposed to hype up a guy like Ray Allen with all that considered? He is one of the most badge-wise complete cards in the entire game. That's a fact. You know, his driving dunk, I definitely do like. I was, I guess, just expecting a little more, and maybe it's my fault that I was expecting too much out of Ray Allen and he couldn't deliver. Let me know down below in the comments, because I feel like a lot of people really do like Ray Allen. At my number 55, Jarred Vanderbilt. Now, there is one guy in the 2K community that hates Jarred Vanderbilt and slanders him. I'm not listening to that. Jarred Vanderbilt, for what he is really solid. Is his release slow? Yes. Do I wish he had anchor and clamps? Yes. But for what he is, still very valuable in my opinion. Coming in here at number 55. At number 54, Nick Young. Talk about one of the more fun cards I've used all year long. It's Nick Young. 6'7", 7-foot wingspan. I feel like, yes, I wish, you know, defensively he was at least a little bit better so I could actually run this card for the foreseeable future. But I feel like his offense with Hall of Fame Agent 3s, Hall of Fame Limitless Range is super valuable and just super fun to use. At my number 53, Amethyst Jason Kidd, 6'4", 6'8", wingspan, hot spots from both corners and the top of the key. 84 3-ball, 93 speed, good defense, Hall of Fame dimer, and clamps. A card that I do have, I've never really used him, but I kind of want to use him because I feel like Jason Kidd's release this year, and this is just me in my opinion, really isn't that bad. Maybe it's me, but I feel like Jason Kidd is actually kind of a hooper this year. At my number 52, Tony Kukoc. Look, he's your collector level reward. So am I ever going to gas a collector level reward? No. I mean, they're not worth gassing, but is Tony fine? Yes. I mean, I can't sit here and slander him. 6'11" at the 3. Tony Kukoc, based on normal timing, has a lot of badges. Hot spots from 4 to 5 places. I like what I see all the way around. It's just, my whole thing is the best part about this card is his height. Outside of his height, he doesn't play enough defense for me to be that high on the card. Wrapping up our first 50, Kyrie Irving at number 51. I still feel like offensively one of the best point guards in the entire game. Now, I said that with Damian Lillard, I'm saying it with Kyrie Irving, but I mean it. I mean, offensively, does it get much better than Uncle Drew? Yes, I mean, yeah, you might say, well, he can't dunk, and yes, it gets better than him, but I'm just saying, when I've used Kyrie Irving, I've had a lot of success on that offensive end of the court. Cracking my top 50, we've got Emerald Terrence Mann. Terrence Mann based on Clique. The same release that Michael Beasley's got. If you watch my No Money Spent Squad series, you've seen Michael Beasley go off. It's really simple. if you have a good release this year in my team, it's super valuable. It really is, just for the sole fact of a lot of people do not have good releases. And if somebody has the best release in the game, that's gotta matter for something. Good dribble style as well, decent defense. It's crazy. Number 4000 MT, cracking our top 50. At number 49, we're plugging in Diamond Bradley Beal. You guys might be like, who is this and what is this card? He's a collector level reward. Definitely not worth the grind. If you get him on your grind, let's say you are grinding collector level, I mean, he's fine. Is he a letdown for all the collector levels? I mean, probably, because he is your like top collector level reward right now. Does have some things going for him though. 6'4", half range, ankle breaker, handles for days. Does do some things at a decent level. At my number 48, Derek White. Amethyst here. Now, 84 3-ball, 87 speed, solid defense. I can't slander Derek White. I think he's better than Larry Hughes, who I am a big fan of as well. There's just not many negatives with Derek White. A lot of positives, not many negatives. Great release, 6'4", plays good defense. What bad things can I even possibly say about Derek White? Nothing. At my number 47, Scotty Barnes Amethyst. 6'8", 7'2" wingspan. Now, he is way better with the Pascal Siakam duo. That has to be known. But even without the duo, he is fine. Is he great? No, but he is fine. Decent release. You're going to agree with it. Decent player model. Going to play a lot of defense. Obviously, with the duo, again, gets to be just a ton better overall in my team. Coming in at my number 46, Jeremy Grant, 88 3-ball, 87 speed, solid defensively, good driving dunk, good playmaker. Again, just a decent 3-and-D option. At the small forward position, that's what I call a lot of these guys, because that's where they are. That's what they are. Jeremy Grant's not going to go out there and just make a ton of plays. He's going to knock down shots, play good defense. And that's all I'm going to need him to do if I did end up getting him on my court. At my number 45, Diamond Steph Curry. We are due for a Steph Curry at some point decently soon. He'll probably be another lock-in type of card. But what does Steph Curry provide? Well, good release, 97 3-ball, moves decently as well. Just an overall solid card to add to your squad. Obviously, if you didn't get Steph Curry, I wouldn't get him now. But again, good release, good movement. He is Steph Curry in my team. At my number 44, level up Dwight Howard. Now, Dwight is an inside big, and take that for whatever you want. He's an inside big, but he's going to compete really well on that interior. And not only that, guys, Dwight Howard's speed is just ridiculous. Like, I'm going to have Rudy Gobert coming up here sometime soon. And you can make the argument Dwight's better than Rudy just because he's way quicker on the court overall. Dwight Howard coming in at number 44. At number 43, Donovan Mitchell. And I'm going to say it as simply as possible. Donovan Mitchell in real life is a hooper, man. I watched that game versus Celtics last night, and my goodness, Donovan Mitchell was doing it, man. Offensively, I mean, he's fine. Not necessarily the best in the game, but he's fine. I think the most underrated part about Donovan Mitchell is his defense, though. Good player build, decent defense. Movement-wise, good. Release-wise, good. Donovan Mitchell, overall, really solid in my team. At my number 42, we've got Mr. Dwayne Wade. Here's the deal between Dwayne Wade and a guy like Donovan Mitchell. Dwayne Wade's going to play way more defense. Donovan Mitchell is going to be way better offensively. So between them, it's definitely preference. I prefer defense with Dwayne Wade. Offensively, D-Wade's not going to be great. Release is easy to green. It is on the slower side of things, though. Dwayne Wade's not the D-Wade that we had in 2K, what was it, 2K21, where you'd have like the best release in the game and play good defense. He's still good, but again, don't expect that release to just be the best in the game because you will definitely be let down with Dwayne Wade. At my number 41, Diamond Brandon Ingram, 6'8", 7'3" wingspan. Nobody really talks about Diamond BI. Why? Well, because you'd have to lock in the Chet set to get him. And if you locked in the Chet set, you're probably not using Brandon Ingram anyways. Problem with BI, no defense. Is really solid offensively, though. Gonna knock down shots at a high level. And he is 6'8" this year compared to 6'7" of last year with a bad player model last year. This year is the first year I felt like BI actually doesn't have the worst player model. And so maybe I'm hyping him up because it's the first usable BI we've had in a while, but the card definitely is solid. Cracking our top 40, Gordon Hayward, 6'7", 6'7" wingspan. I've actually got this card. He's a collector level card, but I've not used him. Why? Because I feel like if you want to use Gordon Hayward, I mean, here's the deal. I'm gonna put it as simply as possible. If you've got Gordon Hayward, you're a collector level, so you've probably got better cards than Gordon Hayward. It's really that simple for me. I've always had better shooting guards in my opinion than Gordon Hayward, so there's really never been a reason for me to use this card. At my number 39, Anthony Davis. Talk about one of the best longevity cards in the entire year. It's Anthony Davis. He was free the other day, and so I got him on my no money spent. It kind of reminded me how good AD is. Stat-wise, not great. Badge-wise, not great. AD just plays above those. As crazy as it sounds, that's the truth. At my number 38, Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren Jackson Jr. and Anthony Davis, relatively similar in what they give you on the court. Both power forward centers that are going to shoot the ball decently well, play decent defense. And I respect both of them. Who do I like more? Probably Jaren, but I do think it is a debate to be had. At my number 37, one of the most overrated cards of all time, Diamond Magic Johnson. And I'm sorry if y'all love Diamond Magic Johnson. I apologize that I ever even remotely hyped this card up. Because look, he was not anything, man. I know he's 6'9", but if you've learned one thing about my channel this year and one thing about what I think about the game, height does not run the game nearly as much as it has in the past. What runs the game? Having a good three ball and being able to play defense. Magic Johnson doesn't really do either of them. He's decent defensively because he's 6'9", but again, height does not run the game. At my number 36, Diamond Joel Embiid, 7 feet tall, 7'5" wingspan. When this card first came out, I didn't hype him up as much as I should have, and that's my fault. I apologize for that. But Joel Embiid is good, man. And I think everybody needs to realize that. If you have this card, you can still run him. Not the best big in the game anymore, not worth the MT price, but if you have him, you still can use him. At my number 35, Amethyst Doug Christie. The only season reward this season that I think is above average is Doug Christie. Decent release, decent three ball, decent speed, solid defense, Hall of Fame clamps, interceptor. Not obviously what you want for your best season reward, but I mean he's fine. You can get him in MyTEAM Unlimited, and if you get him, you can obviously use him and just have a ton of success with the card. Coming in at my number 34. Michael Jordan. It's crazy that I don't think Doug Christie is as good as MJ, but I just think MJ overall is better. Maybe it's the Hall of Fame badges, maybe it's something else. Maybe it's the total badges. But I still feel like MJ is one of the most complete cards in the entire game. I know his release leaves a lot to be desired, and that's why I can't plug the card any higher. But when I think about complete cards in my team, I think MJ is definitely close to being one of the most complete options. At my number 33, Diamond John Wall, 76 three ball, 97 speed, 92 ladder quickness, Hall of Fame clamp breaker, hyperdrive, quick first step. Really good finishing badges. I never really got in a rhythm with John Wall this year. I mean, the card came out. I tried using him. I didn't have much success with him. Really never gave him a chance after that. But do I respect John Wall? Sure. He's fine in my team with a great release, as long as you can green with it. At my number 32, Amethyst Trace McGrady, 6'8", 7'2" wingspan, hot spots from everywhere outside the three-point arc. Now, why do I like T-Mac? 6'8" at the 2, provides good height, can switch with him. Why do I not like T-Mac? Well, defensively, he's just not great. I wish defensively did a little bit more for us on the court. He's fine, not worth it anymore in my team. At my number 31, Bobby Portis Jr. Now, it took Bobby Portis Jr. a long time for me to really respect this card, but with every Evo Bobby Portis Jr. got, he just kept getting better. And I thought, eventually he'd get the Jared Vanderbilt treatment in which they would stop making him better. But they just continued to make him better. And for that, I got to give 2K credit, man. They did what they needed to do to make Bobby Portis Jr. really solid in my team. Coming in here at my number 31. Cracking our top 30, Andre Kirilenko, 6'9", 7-foot wingspan. The big problem for Andre Kirilenko to me is the lack of hot spots. No hot spots from everywhere outside of that left corner. Decent three ball, solid defense. You could play him at the 3 or the 4. It doesn't matter. He is really solid at either. I just wish he had more total hot spots. Do I for Andre Kirilenko? At my number 29, Diamond Lonzo Ball. 84 three ball, 89 speed, solid defense. Now, I maybe use Lonzo Ball more than about anybody in the MyTEAM community because I mean, I was still using him, like 2 weeks ago or maybe a week and a half ago, I was still using Lonzo Ball and nobody else was. I was even, as bad as it was, using this card over Cade Cunningham for some time. Again, I don't know why, but I was. Maybe it's just because I wanted to use Lonzo. He's fine. Defensively, he's good. Release-wise, it is what it is. It's not necessarily great, but it's okay enough to at least use and have some success with it. Do I recommend you guys getting Lonzo? No. He is one of the most expensive cards in the entire game right now from the player market. At my number 28, Spicy P Pascal Siakam, 6'8", 7'3" wingspan. Now, Spicy P, if you run the duo, does get better with Scotty Barnes. Without the duo, he's still fine. It's just not nearly as good or as impactful without the duo as with the duo. And so that's my whole thing. I don't really run Scotty Barnes anymore because I think the small forward position has just gotten to be too good. And even Spicy P at the power forward position, I think is a little bit undersized. So I don't really run this card anymore, but I do still respect him, putting him at number 28. At my number 27, DeJounte Murray, 6'5", 6'10", wingspan, outspots from both corners and the top of the key. 85 3-ball, 92 speed, defensively is okay. Does get Hall of Fame Challenger Glove and Pick Dodger. With being 6'5" at the point guard position, I think that's valuable. Gonna play a ton of defense. Offensively for DeJounte, obviously not the best. It's fine. Dame dribble style is one I love. I'm not gonna spend 200,000 MT for this card, but if you got him out of that free diamond in the 2K or the NBA season equal chance pack, you should probably be running him. At my number 26, I don't even want to talk about him, Lamar Odom. I don't want to talk about him. Again, I'm recording this before any updates could happen. So right now, Lamar Odom has the Lamar Odom base on normal time. If they update him, this video, just scrap where Lamar Odom's at. If they didn't update him, I don't want to talk about it. So he's slated in here, but I'm not spending any time on him. I do not want to talk about him. There's plenty of videos on my channel about Lamar Odom if you really want to see. At my number 25, Diamond Brandon Roy. He stood the test of time, coming out in season 1 to still being a top 25 player in the entire game. I think is very respectable for Mr. Diamond B. Roy in my team. Look, offensively, still really solid, still really complete, has one of the best releases in the entire game. Defensively, not quite as, impactful. He's not horrible. The problem is he's only 6'6" with not a great player model, and so defensively, it's really hard to hype up Brandon Roy. I feel like this card, used him for quite some time and had a lot of success with him in general. At my number 24, Rudy Gobert. You're not going to see a lot of 7-1 guys in my team that are as complete as Rudy. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, well, Ty, you can't shoot Ty. Like, what is Rudy doing over some of the other bigs? We'll talk about it. But with Rudy, defensively fantastic. Offensively, does enough. He's not great offensively, but defensively, he's so good in my team. At my number 23, Kevin Durant. Crazy. This card came out 2 months ago and is still better than Lamar Odom, as sad as that is. I don't love KD. I think his release this year is not great. But when it comes down to the small forward position, we don't have that many great or complete options that aren't strictly 3-and-D options. KD is a complete card in my team, and for that, I gotta respect him. Coming in here at number 23. At number 22, Shaquille O'Neal. Yes, I prefer Shaq to Rudy Gobert, but I don't think, obviously, it's worth the difference in price. If you got Shaq, you can still run him to this day. He is a really solid option. At my number 21, Michael Beasley, 6'9", 7-foot wingspan. Just super good. Defensively, obviously not good, but offensively, he's so good. If you don't believe me, watch the No Money Spent Squad series from a day ago in which Michael Beasley literally took over the game, shot 9 of 9 from the three-point line, just showing off how impactful that Terrence Mann release can be. Cracking our top 20, Wilt Chamberlain, 7'1", 8-foot wingspan, right up there with Shaq, Rudy. You can rank any of those three in whatever order you want to, but all three of those cards are really solid in my opinion, and definitely deserving of your respect. They're all inside bigs, all of them really solid. Coming in at my number 19, we've got Mr. Rudy in my team. Now, with the way my lineup has been shaped recently, I've had to run him at the power forward position, and I haven't really loved that. I mean, it's been part of the situation. It's fine, but I would much rather play him at the shooting guard or small forward position. He's been really good for me, competing on the interior, has a good model player build, way better offensively than defensively, and it all starts and ends with his release. A lot of people are going to say it isn't as good as last year. I'm going to be honest. I really like it this year. Maybe it's me and what I'm seeing, but I really like that release this year in my team. Rudy coming in at my number 19. At my number 18, this is going to be a surprise to a lot of people. Diamond Chris Bosh. And this is what's so upsetting with how the gauntlet is. Chris Bosh is at my number 18 when it comes to overall players. Lamar Odom, is in the mid-20s. It's sad that Chris Bosh is better, but he is. I mean, this card plays at every level. Hall of Fame rebound chaser, competes on the interior, knocks down shots. This card does it all at such a high level, and I think it's why so many people are upset about how the gauntlet has got, because Chris Bosh started off with a bang, and since then, it just has not been great. At my number 17, James Harden, offensively speaking, one of the best point guards in the entire game. Defensively, not quite as good. The Hall of Fame glove is nice, decent player model, player build, but I just wish his defense was as good as his offense. I know that's kind of high hopes for James Harden, but I mean, it's just what I wish. At my number 16, Chet Holmgren. I never got the card. Obviously, do I, wish I had him? Sure. But he's fine. 7'1", 7'6" wingspan. His strength is just so low, and I think that's why a lot of people can't really hype the card up too much. He is 7'1", though. Does knock down shots. If you're looking at a 7'1" stretch big in my team, you gotta respect him at least a little bit. Diamond Andre Iguodala coming in here at number 15. Now, Iggy, I don't want to say he was a super hard guy to rank, but he kind of was. I don't love his release. Defensively, he's fantastic. Driving dunk is incredible. And so even though Iggy's release is slow, which it is, I'm not trying to sit here and ignore that whole fact, because his release is slow, and I think that definitely hurts his value. He does so much else on the court that I think we've got to talk about it as a My Team community. Defensively, fantastic. Offensively, he can attack the rim when a lot of shooting guards can't do that. I do think he's underrated. Andre Iguodala at my number 15. Coming in at my number 14 is a card I don't really know where to rank, and that's Cade Cunningham. Sometimes I think Cade's the second best point guard in the game. Other times, I think he's the third best. For me, I'm ranking him as the third best. But if you guys want to say Cade's the best point guard in the game, I'm not going to disagree with it. Good release. That's where it all starts and ends. Hall of Fame blinders, good release, decent dribble style, and he plays good defense because he's 6'7". 6'7", wide frame, plays a ton of defense. I just wish, look, and this is asking for a lot right now, but I just wish Cade Cunningham could be your primary ball handler. And he, occasionally can, but not a ton. I do like Cade defensively because he is long, lengthy. You're not going to want to put him on a primary ball handler, though. That is the big thing for Cade. At my number 13, we're plugging in Luol Deng. Now, back in the day, I really liked the Chicago Bulls because I really liked Derrick Rose when he was in his prime. I mean, who didn't? He was just super fun to watch. Luol Deng was right there with him, though, with that Bulls squad. 6'9", 7-foot wingspan. The thing about Luol this year is the Donovan Mitchell base this year is better than it was last year. Still plays great defense. Luol, one of the best 3-and-D options in the entire game. If you don't have LeBron James, Luol Deng is a great second option. At my number 12, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. This is what I was basically talking about with Cade. Is Cade better than SGA? Sometimes I think yes, other times I think no. I think overall as a player, his stats suggest he's better, but I don't know. Shai's release is just something special. So I think that's something I'm still struggling with, is who's better between those cards, and that's something eventually I'll have to figure out. For the sake of this video, I put SGA higher. I really like this card, and it all starts and ends with that Shai Gilgeous release on Quick. Hakeem Olajuwon at number 11. A lot of people are mad that Hakeem Olajuwon's not better, and I get it, right? I want him to be better than D-Rob too. It would just make sense, but Buy Team says different. If you have a question if it's my team or Buy Team this year, it is absolutely Buy Team, and Hakeem is still really solid. At least if you get him, he can go out there and compete with the likes of David Robinson. It's just hard, because if you got D-Rob, if you got Kareem, does Hakeem play? Probably not. Because right now, as it stands, I'm higher on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Now, Kareem's 3-ball is something that I'm a little bit concerned with, right? Because his release is a little slow. 3-ball is not super high. But defensively, Kareem's fantastic. He is 7'2". He just does so much for you on the court. Now, one thing I think that is underrated about Kareem that's not talked about, nobody talks about it, is he doesn't have Hall of Fame rebound chaser. Now, yes, you can give that to him, but that's one thing for Kareem that does need to be talked about. No Hall of Fame rebound chaser. That is super important and super valuable. Cracking our top 10 at number 9. Penny Hardaway, I think he's the best point guard in the entire game. Now, is he worth the lock-in? No. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think Cade is 95% of Penny. But if you want the best team in the game, Penny makes it. Love his defense. Offensively, great. I think his release is honestly underrated. I'll be the first to say it. I'm really loving Penny Hardaway from top to bottom in my team. At my number 8, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Some people might say this is too low and Giannis should be higher. I just think his inability to shoot the ball can definitely hurt you guys on the court. Now, can he knock down shots? Yes. When I say his inability to shoot the ball, I'm mostly referring to he's 50 with a mediocre, pretty slow release. That's really what I'm referring to. Not to say you can never green with him, because you should honestly green most of your shots with him. I'm just saying his release is relatively baited in my team. Coming in at number 7, Jimmy Butler. I don't have this card. I'm getting, you know, kind of relatively speaking close to him on my account. But I mean, here's the deal. I just don't see what he gives you over, let's say, the Kobe's or the Ron Artest, who we haven't seen on this yet. And so that's my whole thing with Jimmy. Do I want him? Yeah. But am I rushing to get him? No. I mean, there's no real rush to get him. Release is baited. I just don't think he is that best shooting guard in the game. I'd even go as far as saying, I think Paul George is better than him. Paul George coming in at number 6. I think Paul George, because of his offensive creating ability, as well as his defense being 6'8", is better than Jimmy Butler. It's crazy to say, but I think it's the truth. I think Paul George is super, super, super good. Another one of those cards that I just wish I would have gotten, because he is so stinking good. Every time I play Paul George, he dominates me. Literally dominates me. I have no answers for this card. He is that good in my team. Coming in at my number 5, Kevin Garnett. Now, we talk a lot about Hakeem Olajuwon. We talk a lot about Giannis. Nobody really talks that much about Kevin Garnett. And I think people should be, because I love this card. 6'11", 7'2" wingspan, hotspots from both quarters. Badge-wise, fantastic. It can get every badge in the game. Defensively complete. There's nothing this card can't do. Outside of Hakeem and KG, I'm way more excited to add KG to my squad. Me personally am super excited about that. At my number 4, Ron Artest Diamond, 6'7", 6'10" wingspan. Yes, I think Ron Artest is better than Paul George. I think he's better than Jimmy Butler. I think he is one of the best small forward shooting guards in the entire game. Hall of Fame posterizer, defensively super elite. And yes, he's got the Rudy base, which is so fantastic as well. He's probably the best defensive player in the entire game, I'll say it. At my number 3, Diamond David Robinson. I think D-Rob, by far and away, is the best center in the game. Now, I think Kareem, I think Hakeem, they can compete at this similar type of level. But I do think D-Rob stands alone at the top. Now, do I love D-Rob's release? I think it's fine. It's not necessarily my favorite, but I think it's fine. But defensively, he's fantastic. Talk about Kareem not having Hall of Fame rebound chaser. D-Rob's got it. From top to bottom, by far and away, the most complete center in the entire game. Coming in at my number 2 is LeBron James. 6'9", 7-foot wingspan, hot spots for everyone on the court, 88 3 ball. If I see one more person say LeBron James isn't really that good, I might lose my mind. Because LeBron James is elite in my team. He's elite. One of the best defenders in the game. A release that you'll never miss with. Dunks on everybody. He is so good in my team. And I get mad when people are like, you know, he's kind of overrated or this and that. Like, LeBron is so good in my team. Coming in as my best overall card in my team, it's Kobe Bryant. Now, Kobe right now at the time I'm recording this is super rare, and I think people need to know that and understand that. But I also think people need to know and understand that, I mean, people have Kobe. He is available, not widely available, but he is available in the packs right now, you know, just directly. You could also obviously lock in for him come December 22nd, but he's the best card in the game. Kobe Bryant, based on quick plays, great defense, offensively probably the best card in the game. Overall, my number 1 option in my team. That's going to wrap it up for our top 100 list. Let me know your thoughts on it down below in the comments. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.